Hey everyone! So this is Sensei Victoria Whitfield here. You can find me at naturalintuition.com. And I had to hit record because the juice is flowing. Dr. Ginny Baro and I are celebrating how fabulous her productivity, her work life is right now. Like, this isn't a celebration of you, goddess, because you are transmuting and shifting so much since we started working together. And I want to let people know that this is possible, like to give them the vision of what's possible. So
I
as we
love to.
could you just, for those who may not know you, could you give a little bit on who you are and what you do, goddess?
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Ginny Baro. I am an international transformational speaker, a leadership coach, career strategist, and number one best-selling author. I am super excited that Victoria was in my latest book, Healing Leadership, which was published in 2021. And I've been with the tribe now for 2 years. This is my second full year. And we were celebrating before we started to record that yesterday I went on a hike by myself for the first time as an adult. I love hiking, is one of my favorite activities, but one of my fears was hiking alone because I didn't feel safe. And I picked a place that was had other hikers and felt safe for me. And I was sharing that while I was done with my first hike, because I did a second hike in the afternoon, I stopped as I was walking in the gardens. I stopped at a beautiful bench with a little canopy on top, and I put my feet up. I had this small journal that I brought with me. I was jotting down some thoughts, and I began to download a blog on the 10 steps and the 10 strategies that I use to climb the labyrinth trail at the Mohonk Mountain House in New Paltz, New York. And then I took Otter from my app, my phone, and I began to speak the article after I had the 10 points. And the shift that has happened for me is that I had to work and be spiritual and be connected and be centered separately. And now, what I've learned to do over the past couple of years is to integrate the two. And the productivity, the flow is absolutely amazing because there is no effort. You are constantly being present, listening to your intuition, and your work is coming from that place.
100%. So beautifully said, so beautifully bragged, and so beautifully downloaded. And as a side note for anyone watching, if you think like, oh, she downloaded in her app, like no.
That's funny. It's funny because I'm an ex-programmer, so we're talking technology language, but we don't mean downloading an app on your phone.
Exactly. But that's the thing. Like when people hear like I downloaded, they're going to go to the technological language.
Sure. Yeah.
And you and I both, like, we're techies at heart. We're tech goddesses, and you especially because that's your doctorate. You're an
Yeah.
incredible goddess. But when you say download, what do you mean?
So what I mean by that is when you are in flow, when you are connected to nature, you're mindful, you're in the moment, and you open up the floodgates to your intuition to literally take over. What happens is when you sit down, the ideas just pour in as if you're literally being told what to write. But the who's telling you is yourself. So it's you tapping into your intuition and the wisdom that lies within based on whatever inspired you at the moment. And you learn to just let it flow instead of questioning, holding it back, editing yourself. You literally let it flow and it pours out of you. And that's how my book came out too. I was putting together the Fearless Leaders Challenge for this past July of 2021, and actually 2020. And I put together 30 topics that I wanted to cover during a 5-day challenge. Hello. And obviously, it wasn't for the challenge, it was for the chapters in my new book. And allowing it to flow is what I've learned with Victoria. Allowing to trust my intuition and honing it, because it's one thing to know, yes, I'm intuitive, you're intuitive, we're all intuitive. That's never a question. The question is, are you listening to it? And so together with Victoria and the tribe, what we do is we exercise learning how to tap into that intuition so that it isn't happenstance, it's intentional, and it's loving and courageous and generous. And it is with ourselves. And so that's how it all begins. And that's what we learn when we do the work together. It's, I say work, but quite frankly, it's so much fun. It's work because that's what we are calling it. We call it the inner work, but it truly is our own evolution as people and as leaders in our lives and in our businesses.
I love how clear you're relaying this, because I know when we first reconnected, because y'all, Ginny and I have known each other for years. We
2014, like years. Yeah.
Yeah. And we met in like business networking and group coaching and all of that. Like we've been in each other's spheres for some time. So I've always known that Ginny was amazing. She's a fabulous sister goddess. She's intuitive, right?
Likewise.
Yeah. We know our people. We know our people 100%. And so, but I remember, like, let's go back to the beginning of, like, I feel like, BC and AD, like in particular, but like when we were reconnecting, I know we reconnected.
Mhm.
I was leading the meditations, like that was how
Yeah.
we reconvened after some years, like just journeying in our own businesses apart. But what was your work life like before coming into so everyone, she's in my Visionary Shaman Circle, we're working directly now.
Right.
What was your work life before? Because I know you're intuitive, but what was the before like?
Well, before for me was this insecurity about, I know I'm intuitive. I know that there's a lot of wisdom within me, just like there's within you, no question about it. And what I was lacking was confidence in listening to that. And my day was very arduous, meaning I had come from a 25 plus year career in corporate, and it was about you sit down and you do work. And I'm super organized. That's one of my superpowers. I was a project manager in most of my career, so I know how to get things done. But how I was getting them done, a lot of it came from the fear of, am I going to make it? Am I going to have enough clients? And I need to learn this and I need to learn that. And it was a lot of to-dos. And I understand that it was also the beginning of my new business. So there was a lot of filling the gaps that I was doing at the same time. And over time, naturally, I began to be inclined toward, what is this intuition of mine? And I felt pulled to explore it further. And I knew that there was this knowing that there was so much more there that I wasn't tapping into. And it was that knowing that kind of when I reunited with you over meditation, over another group that we belong to, big, Believe, Inspire, Grow, and we began to meditate over COVID, because you were doing this for the tribe just to help us kind of stay energized, that I was like, wait a minute, we talked about this a while back before you had the Visionary Shaman Circle. And we even brainstormed about creating the Visionary Shaman Circle. I remember that in a little lunch we were having outside of the Sheraton in Hartford, Connecticut. I mean, I remember the moment when we were having this conversation, and I remember saying to you, let me know when you do it, because I knew that this was a place that I wanted to explore further. And so what I would say to people that are on the edge, that are tittering whether this is for them or not, is when you are ready to explore yourself further. And doing this by yourself is no picnic. and I wouldn't recommend it. And I don't think you would too, either, Victoria. This level of growth requires other people around you to be your mirrors. This is not going to be a yes man me all the way, or a rah rah rah. This is about people being real and being around people who are relatable, who are not going to be judging you for you sharing your insights and ideas with them, because there are not many people in the world that you can share those ideas with. And so this circle is absolutely precious if you are on the journey of self-discovery, understanding that that self-discovery is going to lead to your fullest expression and to your full potential, which is my why, to fulfill my potential, to help my son Kyle fulfill his, and to help my clients fulfill theirs. I can't do that alone. And this is why I'm part of this tribe.
It's so true. There's not always people who you can share the level of downloads and the level of vision that's coming through. And how we've crafted this is to make sure that what happens in the circle stays in the circle.
Yeah.
Like, to those of you who love logistics, to the tune of a mutual non-disclosure agreement. When people come in, we all sign to make sure that we respect everyone's privacy as well as creative flow, right? And I love the point that you made there about being around people who are mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about getting a pump up necessarily, because like, we celebrate all the time, first and always, like, because that's extremely important. And there's no rah-rahing going on here. Instead, it's more of a safe place to process what's the creative vision, as well as grounded into making things happen.
And genuine celebration, like people who are genuinely happy for you. And these are people that I didn't grow up with, or that I went to high school or college with. These are people that I met 2 years ago and who I know when I'm in that space that I'm going to be respected, that I'm going to respect them, that I have their best interest in mind, and vice versa, because there is not a bad bone. And I'm not saying that we're all, holy and mighty, not at all. What I'm saying is that we show up with good intentions, and I'm grateful for that, because we even know, if you have been in a spiritual community, we even know that there's a lot of, vampires in the spiritual communities, people who may be preying on spiritual people who are taking advantage of, and who may be experiencing a lot of personality disorders, narcissism, bipolar, whatever it may be. And I'm not casting any stones. I'm just saying that it's important to feel safe when you are growing, and feeling that you're safe in a community where people have your best interest and have your back feels so amazing.
Amen. Amen. Enough of the energy vampires. Like, if we're going to do something big, if we're going for a quantum leap in life or business, we can't be around people who drain us anymore. And so, but I want to ask a question. Like, so there may be people who are watching who know us both and who already know, like, what you do and what I do, and they are actually excited to join the Visionary Shaman Circle. So for someone who is now on year 2 of being in the Visionary Shaman Circle, what advice do you have for the members of our tribe who are excited to join, who are considering doing one of my programs? Like, how have you gotten the results that you've gotten? Like, I remember your $26,000 day and the ring and all of, like, the amazing manifestations. Your book, I'm never far from your book.
Here it is. Healing Leadership.
Oh, it's juicy and thick. Like, yeah. What advice would you give to those who are watching who are like, I really really would love to work with Victoria, but how do I get the most out of my experience? Do you have any advice for
I
them?
do. Victoria, let's not kid ourselves. Most of the people who hang around with us are learning junkies. We learn, learn, learn. We are learning junkies. And so what I would say is get very clear on what your end game is. And I think that's going to do a few things for you. It's going to help you focus your energy because there's only so much energy that we have to put out every single day. It's also going to help you focus the focus of study. Like, what is it that you're developing for yourself? And finally, it's going to help you focus your finances. Because many times we say, I can't do X, but it's because we're so diluted, we're so spread thin that we have nothing left, even if it includes learning. So what I would say is consider how working with Victoria in this particular space, in her niche of developing your intuition, developing your business, becoming the CEO of your life, and bringing self-care to the center of your business so that you, as you grow and develop, you don't replicate old patterns that got you feeling burnt out. If you have those things as priorities, then this is the place that I would recommend that you grow your business to the next level. And yes, you're going to still be part of other tribes. You're still going to be doing your business networking. Not one thing becomes the holy grail. And I would highly recommend that you don't make any person your guru, because I believe that everyone has something to teach you and you can learn from them. But when it comes to investing your time, your money, and your focus, that you be very watchful as to where you choose to do that, and ensure that there's alignment between what you want in your business and what that thing is offering you. Because many times you can get a nice fuzzy feeling, but you don't see anything happening. I want to share the story, Victoria, of how I made that $29,000 day, because we had just finished a retreat in Massachusetts. And after we finished doing the retreat for the day, Victoria and I sat and she walked me through the actual closing. And like a business, we need to learn the techniques and tactics and strategies to be able to be effective as business owners and as salespeople, because if people are not buying our services, which we know will be good for them, we are doing them a disservice. So that's where we come from when it comes to actually closing the sale, as we call it in marketing and sales. And so Victoria sat with me and we went through the entire arc of how to do that closing. When I showed up to my Fearless Leaders Challenge that coming week, and I was toward day 4 or 5, and I was doing the closing, I truly offered value, content, knowledge, wisdom, strategies, tools, tactics, stories. I mean, people were filled up. And at the end, all I did was very openly and genuinely say to them, by the way, this is what I have to offer you if you want to continue to move forward and get to your next level. And I was very clear on what I offered, what the bonuses were, how much time they had to get the bonuses, etc. And I had my biggest closing to date. And so I share that because it's not that you sign up and then you get $29,000 days. It doesn't work that way. It's that you are building the foundation for a business, or you are looking to scale your business, and you're going to continue to learn strategies to do that. And one of the strategies is tapping into your own intuition and learning how to ask quality questions and how to receive the answers. That in itself becomes a gold mine, because Victoria or no Victoria, now I know how to ask questions, how to listen to my guides, how to listen to my intuition, and how to answer my own questions. Now, to be 100% frank, it's always harder when you're doing it alone. I have found that it's so much It flows so much faster when I'm doing it with the group mind. And that's one of the things I've noticed. And one of the, at one point during our time together, one of the things we used to do is, and do occasionally, is we would journey for each other. And during those journeys, I would get such visions and downloads for my partner. And when I share those visions, their jaws were on the floor because they just wouldn't, they didn't know how I knew what I was telling them that I saw, because it answered so many of the questions that they had. So I'm sharing that, yes, you will get the individual benefit of knowing how to do it yourself, but you're also going to get, or I should say, and you're also going to get the benefit of the mastermind, that third mind that is created when you have two people coming together. And that is invaluable.
I love I love everything that just, I mean, of course I love it because like we've co-created this as a community. But what I love especially of what you broke down there, Ginny, is how this is a continuation of an inner journey that you've been on in yourself and in your business already, of like, okay, I'm bringing my intuition forward. Now I'm bringing my self-care to the center of my work life. And I also am in a group of people where this is normalized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually call, because we're bringing the intuition forward and bringing the self-care to the center, it calls it out and makes it even stronger and more potent. I mean, it's so fascinating to me how whenever we're journeying together as a group, how different people will see the same thing
Oh, yes.
all the
Yep.
time, unbeknownst to one another. And it's really magnificent, I feel personally, as the facilitator, as a model for collaboration and communication, to really have that connection and intimacy.
Imagine this in business. Imagine this in corporate, where people actually journey together. Let me tell you something. Corporate doesn't know what they're missing. When you have people who have this type of heart, who are open, who are generous, who are here for service, when people sit down and ask a quality question and ask, what is the answer to this question, and do a journey to listen for the answer and open up their eyes and share what they saw, people's minds will be blown. And we don't do it because it's not our culture to do it in a corporate setting. Now, I guarantee you that I know many CEOs that are visionaries, that are doing all kinds of visualizations as athletes do, because visualizations aren't woo-woo. Visualizations are scientific. When you're able to close your eyes and visualize yourself succeeding or getting to a certain level or being in a certain way, it activates the RAS, the reticular activating system. Is like the filter in your brain that says, hey, anything that has to do with that vision, bring it into my periphery. I want to see it. And that's what visualizations really is, or really are. And so when you visualize your future, when you visualize a question and the answer and the resources that come to you with the answers, and you trust them because you know it's a process that you're following and it's safe to do so, you are literally letting your imagination run amok in a good way, right? You're being strategic about using your imagination in creative, productive ways without having to be on drugs or take some type of ride, right? Like we're drug free. We don't do any drugs. This is all natural. And that's the point I'm trying to bring, that if the corporate world knew about the gift of journeying and visioning, that we would be solving problems so much faster, and we would not be having the problems that we're having today. And so our movement is to bring journeying and visioning to the world, because as a coach and somebody who coaches C-level leaders and leaders across the entire stratosphere of management, it's so important for us to connect to ourselves and to connect to the wisdom that lies within. And the methodology that we use to do that right now, it's right now only meditation, which is very passive. And visioning and journeying is an active meditation. It really is. That's really what it is. And it's active in that you're asking the questions you need answers to, from personal questions to business questions. And you listen to the answers that come, because they will come.
Like, I feel like a proud mom. I'm cheering from the stands. I'm like, yes, passive meditation is not enough for the leadership. Leadership needs active meditation. And the vision and that is where we are going, right? That's the vision. And I thank you for holding the vision and helping me download that, like receive that, sister. Yes. As a to franchise, right? And to make sure that in every single corporation, there is a Visionary Shaman Circle that helps leaders communicate with clarity and compassion to themselves and others. It's like a beautiful, I see
Yeah.
it in our lifetime. I really do.
Yeah.
And I
I
just,
think I think we're building the types of leaders who will be open to this.
mhm.
The people that we're coaching today will be those C-suite level leaders.
Mhm.
So we are doing it.
100%. There's no coincidence that you and me both are journeying together now in business for such a time as this. There's no coincidence that we're doing
Absolutely.
what we're doing here on the planet. So, got
And,
it?
and just look how many of us coaches who have been in the corporate world are now on this path. Coincidence? I don't think so. And by the way, everybody who we meet with is qualified, super smart, super successful. I'm not speaking about people who are wannabes or lost in the shuffle or who wish they, no, we are all more than qualified, successful, quote unquote, successful by society standards people. We are at a point where we realize this way of living and leading is healing. The other way that we have been doing it leads to burnout. So healing versus leading to burnout, guess which choice I'm going to pick? And that's the choice we want to pick for the people who are watching this and for the people who are wondering, is this the right thing for me? If you want to heal and lead from that place and be that healing leader for others, welcome.
Absolutely. Welcome, welcome. The next level of coaching, the next level of leadership is healing leadership. It's being visionary. Oh, thank you so much,
Thank
Goddess.
you. Thank you for making this tribe and for bringing us together. I will be forever grateful.
Such a pleasure. So everyone, as you're watching in, if this speaks to you, head on over to talkwithvictoria.com. I'd be happy to connect with you so we could talk more about you possibly being in the circle with Ginny and I and the rest of our community. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.